The Predator strain. Easily the hardest sub-faction in all of Helldivers 2. These overly aggressive bugs apply so much pressure onto us as Helldivers that even equipping jump packs and light armor, it still remains nearly impossible to outrun them. So what can we do to more easily dominate these bugs? How do we handle it? And how can we pull this off solo? By the way, I must mention when I say solo, I don't necessarily mean you're in a game by your complete self, which yes, it is the case for this video, and we're gonna go over that specifically, but it can also apply to those of you guys who are in group games, but may enjoy going off on your own, completing objectives without the need to be hip to hip with your teammates, or, well, if you're in a clutch situation. So today, let's go over how I can more or less confidently handle this faction. I must first say that this is definitely the hardest faction, and deaths can snowball out of control if you're not careful, but today we've recorded here a solo super Helldive difficulty, and we'll be doing a post-game commentary here talking through my thought process as we're handling these predators. We only go down once this entire game, and it was only due to just barely running out of ammo at the perfectly worst time. So with that said, before we hop into the game, let's start with how do we build our loadout against these predators. First, I like to handle the predators with one of two methods. Method 1, I build heavily with stagger heavy options as well as tons of crowd control. This loadout here would be one prime example of it. Dog breath for crowd control, grenade launcher to wipe out predators from a distance, gas mines for horde clearing as well as crowd control, and napalm barrage for wiping out breaches. Stamina enhancement will allow us to keep on the move, which we're going to be needing to do a lot here against the predators. And over at equipment, we bring a stagger heavy primary such as the blitzer or like the cookout shotgun. You've got a few choices, and also the ultimatum and thermite for chargers, impalers, and bile titans. As for the armor set, I do like something like a siege ready armor set or a scout armor set, depending on what you prefer. Urban Legends armor set don't really sync up with the blitzer, so in this case I would prefer a scout armor set. The second method, which we use here in the gameplay today, is one where you just focus on killing every single predator bug on sight as fast as humanly possible. And this is, in my opinion, the most efficient way to deal with these predators. So over at stratagems, we bring the stalwart, as we're going to be cranking this up to over 1000 RPM to kill predators as soon as possible. We also bring the regular guard dog to help us out with killing predators on sight, and we also bring the napalm barrage for bug breach clears. And lastly, for stratagems, we bring the 500 kilo bomb, which will be making our lives a little bit easier against bile titans and impalers, especially as we don't really have all that much against bile titans. We of course bring the stamina enhancement, as I find it to be a must against this strain. And over at equipment, I bring the crossbow for primary choice. But beware of this choice. I bring this choice specifically this game because I'm going for a full map clear, so I need something that can close off bug holes more comfortably. If not, I would have brought the Scorcher, and it would have been an even easier game. The thermite and ultimatum combos remains true for those bile titans, chargers, and impalers, and we finish it off with the siege ready light armor set. So that's going to be the loadout we're going to be using today. Let's go into the game and talk through our thought process as we handle this insanely difficult bug strain. All right, we're going to try our best here to do a post-game commentary. This is going to be quite challenging because against predators, there's something happening like literally every second. My mind is just going in all sorts of different places. So we're going to try to do this as best as I can. So I land here by the extraction zone. I usually land close to it. Don't often land inside of it because usually it has a couple of bugs on the extraction zone. And I call in here, of course, safely the stalwart and the guard dog. Immediately crank it up to 1150 RPM. And we already find out that it's a biosphere planet because of those little green guys. And my decision here was correct. I immediately see that the extraction zone has a couple of bugs, so it was the right move to land a little bit off of it. And we go for a quick clear. At this point, I know that the bugs are going to be calling a bug breach. The first encounter always calls in a bug breach. I'm pretty sure I just fat fingered that RPM there, by the way. And there comes the first bug breach. So what do we use? We use the napalm barrage. That's what the napalm barrage is for in our loadout. We use it strictly for bug breaches because the napalm barrage can pretty much single-handedly wipe out an entire bug breach on its own, with the exceptions, of course, of maybe a Bile Titan, and occasionally an Impaler. But all the Predators get killed with a single napalm, so that's good news. We see here that the numbers of Shriekers are starting to get a little bit out of control, and there's a Bile Titan chasing us down. So at this point, I make a decision here to just run to the Shrieker nest and get rid of it as quickly as I can. I'm thinking about throwing a 500 kilo bomb, but I find it a bit awkward to land a 500 kilo bomb on this. So I decide to just kill it myself. Each Shrieker nest gets blown up with 2 thermites or 1 ultimatum shot, which I believe I go for an ultimatum shot here, if I remember correctly. Yes, okay. There's the ultimatum shot, and the thermite gets rid of the other one, so we call in for resupply to get either more thermites or another ultimatum shot for the final nest. Bile Titan's getting a little bit too close there for comfort. We're gonna wait it out, and yep, didn't remember that. Okay, yeah, that was an accident, guys. I did not plan that. That was not some strategical plan that I did there with the resupply. The Bile Titan was just an idiot. That's all it was. So we reload everything and we top off the resupplies. I kind of ended up wasting an extra supply box there, but it doesn't really matter. We see on the map there's a siege artillery nearby, so we're going to be doing that first. This is really, really good for us because if we can get mini nukes or high yield explosives, that's going to help us out a little bit against the Bile Titans, as we kind of only have either the 500 kilo bombs or the ultimatums for Bile Titans. And we get quite lucky here. We already get 2 high yield explosives. We also bring a napalm. I'm not being too picky here because I'm just worried about doing everything as quick as I can. For Predators, you really can't mess around for too long, man. And we got a mini nuke. Oh my god, all right, didn't remember that. Yep, we got a mini nuke, 2 high yield explosives, and we're just waiting for this little patrol to kind of get a little bit closer. So we're gonna be proactively killing patrols. We're not gonna be waiting for them to get too close before we start reacting. No, no, no. Every time we see a patrol, we're gonna immediately engage with them and just get them out of the playing field before they become a threat. Because as you probably know, the Predator bugs become a threat extremely fast, and things can just steamroll out of control. I also gotta constantly keep check here of our ammo count. We got to make sure our stalwart always has enough ammo to handle Predators. One thing you should know is that every time you see a stalker in a patrol group, there's going to be 3 stalkers. Okay, so that's something you got to keep in mind. There's always going to be 3 stalkers. It's not going to be 1 stalker, 2 stalker. It's always going to be 3 per patrol. So if your stalwart is not topped off, you might come across a situation where you just don't have enough ammo to kill all the stalkers that rush you down. So you have to make sure your stalwart always has tons of ammo here in this situation. And since we're bringing a crossbow, which I do not like for stalkers, we have to rely entirely on that stalwart. Usually I enjoy bringing the Scorcher. The Scorcher with 1 magazine can kill all 3 stalkers, so usually I like having that. But yeah, we brought the crossbow for the bug holes, which actually ends up being quite decent for the Bile Spewers as well. I mean, I still prefer the Scorcher, but yeah, not too bad. Again, we see this group coming up behind us. We're not going to go for the bug holes and then worry about this group. We immediately just turn around into this group. I saw that the napalm there was down to 10 seconds. So I'm just kind of holding off whatever I have to hold off here, and we're going to be napalming this group. Looking back at it, I don't think I really needed to napalm this. I could probably fight it out, but the decision was fine. It worked out anyways, so it doesn't matter. Heard that stalker creeping up on me. We managed to get the kill on the Bile Titan with the ultimatum, and we're keeping our eyes here only for stalkers. They're the utmost priority. That one almost got a swing on us. And yeah, every time we fight these groups, man, the biggest priority is always going to be the stalkers. These hunters, you just kind of can't let them do the double attack on you. Usually when they jump you, they do a swing and a spit at the same time. So that's what you got to pay attention to. But the biggest threat, in my opinion, is always the stalker. Their health is extremely high as well. So I see 2 here. Immediately start beaming them. See the other one rushing out, so we get a little bit of distance. Didn't quite come out. Somewhere in there. I've seen it. There it is. There's the kill. Perfect. There's another one. Perfect. We know the stalwart's out. Give it a quick reload. Okay, I didn't reload. I opted in for just continuing to push with the crossbow. Okay. Probably should have reloaded. I think that would have been the smarter move. Would have spared us of that hit there, but no big deal. Popping off everything, getting rid of all the bile spewers. By the way, even though you gotta play very, very fast when you're going up against these predators, you have to... It's difficult to explain. You have to be fast, but you also have to be slow. Not slow. I guess the correct word is you have to be methodical. By the way, there's an invisible wall here. I couldn't cross. These bile spewers, sometimes they glitch. But yeah, you have to be very methodical about how fast you play. You can't just rush from point to point. You have to take a step back. You have to reload. Make sure everything's topped off. You can't just go on making stupid decisions and just rushing everywhere. You gotta play fast, but you gotta play smart. Wipe off this quick Shrieker group. If I'm not mistaken, at this point, I was thinking about reloading and resupplying again. We see this group here. We worry about fighting this group first. Just to make sure there's no predators. I mean, to be fair, once you see it's a bile spewer group like that, it's never gonna have a predator, but still, I don't want to let bugs accumulate. I'd rather just deal with all of them as we continually push forward toward the objective. This group, I know there's going to be 3 predators, so I'm kind of saving here on ammo. Not holding the fire button like a madman. We know that's the 3 kills, and there's a bug breach. We do not have a orbital napalm for this one, so we're going to be taking a step back, getting a little bit of high ground, which if I'm not mistaken, I opt in for this. And we kind of wait for them to get a little bit closer. We know they're going to be pushing us. We're just hanging out and waiting for them. Do I get on top of it? Yeah, okay. I get on top of it. Choose for the high ground, as crossbow is going to be benefiting a lot from the high ground. And it's going to give us a little bit of a better angle here to deal with the predators. Still waiting for them. Does the push never come? I don't quite recall. The push isn't coming. Not exactly sure what happened with that bug breach there. Never happened. All right. Okay. I didn't remember that. All right. Yeah, nothing really happens. There's one predator there. This is not a patrol. That's why there's only one predator there and not 3. That's the stationary security detail, so to speak. It's a stationary unit. So, yeah. If there are stationary units, they don't necessarily come in packs of 3s. Only when it's specifically a predator bug patrol that comes in 3s. At this point, I do remember I didn't quite realize that I had destroyed that many eggs. We're only missing 3 eggs at this point, but I didn't quite realize that we destroyed that many eggs accidentally. We destroyed 28 eggs there, and we didn't even do it on purpose. I never saw this hunter, by the way. Almost got sniped out by him. And this one. And that one. Yeah, I never saw this. At this point, I'm like, okay, wait. I gotta be careful here, because there's a predator bug patrol. There are the stalkers. Stalkers are MIA. So yeah, at this point, I didn't really know that we were only missing 3 eggs, or else I would have just taken a shot in there. I could see the eggs from out here, but I didn't know I was that close to beating it. At this point, if I'm not mistaken, I was debating on using the napalm barrage to just finish off the mission for us. Because usually when I'm not playing against predator bugs, I like using the napalm barrage on these missions. I hear a stalker in there. Whip out the stalwart right away. By the way, that's another thing against the predator. We accidentally finished the eggs there. I didn't even know that I was that close to finishing it. When we're playing against the predator bugs, it is extremely important that you pay attention to sound. Because the stalkers have a very distinct sound that you can tell when they're running up on you. So with games like this against the predator bugs, you have to be paying attention to sound. It's pretty much the only faction in the game, in my opinion, that you constantly have to pay attention to sound. At this point, we're just letting the napalm do its thing, wipe out the bug breach as much as it can, and we're gonna fight off the survivors. Just hanging out here, just waiting for it. Making sure everything's topped off. We start making a move. We're trying to clear all the red from the map as well. So I'm going for this egg nest here, and we're going to be closing off the bug holes. By the way, sometimes I get a comment asking, a lot of people ask, why do you do the full map clears? Why do you get rid of the egg nests? And it's purely just for the challenge. It's just for a full map clear challenge of it. There's no true purpose other than just a challenge, really. It gives you extra XP, but I don't need XP, and it gives you extra currency, which I don't need the currency. It really is just to make the videos a little bit more challenging. I got a little bit sketchy there. You never want to be in a situation where you get that close to a predator patrol, right? I should have just kept my distance as soon as I heard the sound, but we got the job done. Stalwart's amazing. We see an impaler on the left and an impaler on the right. We know we're going to be using both the ultimatums here. That takes care of one. That takes care of another. If I'm not mistaken, these usually tend to have more impalers. Yeah, we hear another impaler, but we don't have the ammo for it. At this point, we want to try to hit it with the sieve artillery. You don't even know if that's actually landing on the impaler there. I don't quite recall if I manage it. This charger, which should have died a long time ago, we finish off. I don't remember. Does this kill the impaler? No, the impaler, I see the impaler there in the back. We never killed it. At this point, we didn't know if we killed it or not, though. At this point, I didn't know. I just kept on pushing. I'm focusing here on this bigger hole. This bigger hole usually spawns some bigger type units. We push for this one first. Get rid of it. This variant of the Mega Nest, I also know that does not have a Titan hole. So I know it can't spawn Bile Titans and shit like that. Bug breach is coming. What I'm pushing for here is a little bit of high ground, which is this right here. And we're going to be 500 kiloing. We hear a patrol. Yeah. We hear a stalker here. I flicked, but it was not behind us for some reason. I heard it perfectly behind us. Even here in the replay, I heard it behind us, but it wasn't for some reason. At this point, I know I only killed 2 stalkers out of that group, and there is the third. There's also going to be more predators here coming from the bug breach. We're going to be continually just retreating. Just keeping our distance. That is the goal here against this predator strain. Is just to keep our distance and killing them from afar. Especially considering... Oh, we got... Yeah. We pre-stem here because I was assuming this hunter could have potentially one-hit us. That stalker somehow whiffed. We're out of stalwart ammo here, so this is a very shitty situation. We do manage to get rid of them, but that was a very, very close call. Guard dog was reloading, and we have no stalwart ammo. We had to rely entirely on diving with the crossbow. Which again, if I had the Scorcher, that would have been a bit safer, but we pulled it off. That was the closest call we had this game so far. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Since we don't really have many stagger choices, then we need to keep our distance at all costs. We need to keep our distance from the predators, bugs, the stalkers, and the hunters. And using that to just kill them from a distance. Because if they get a little bit too close, we're in trouble. Over here, I'm looking for either the impaler or the charger. I'm fine with either one. We managed to get the charger, but I know there's an impaler as well. So we're going to tap the supply to get the final ultimatum necessary for these. And down it goes. Get rid of the final impaler from this nest. Making sure we reload everything, keep everything topped off. We don't want to play it risky here. We need 6 holes here for the mega nest. We got rid of a lot of them. Usually, by the way, another thing I forgot to mention, usually with these mega nests, what I do is I just kind of try to bait the big guys towards us, which is what we did there, by the way. We got close to the mega nest, and what I do is I try to snipe out especially the impalers first. I look for the impalers and I try to get them out of the battlefield as fast as I can. And that's what we managed to do. I try to get rid of the impalers before I even start working the mega nest. And after I got that third impaler, I knew that at this point I was kind of in the clear to start pushing in, which is what we're doing now. We're only down to 3 holes left. Trying to take as little amount of risks as possible. I know my stalwart in my back is fully reloaded, which is why we're prioritizing only using the crossbow here. And we call an orbital napalm barrage right on top of the bug breach. Try to get a free bug breach clear with just a single napalm. We, of course, as always, take our defensive stance, which is going into a little bit of a high ground and waiting for them. We're gonna let the napalm do its thing here. It's not getting a lot of kills, so I'm kind of feeling a bit insecure here at this point. But at this point, we also see that the napalm barrage also closed 2 more holes. So this is the final one right here. Gotta get a little angle on it and close it, and we can get out of here. There's another impaler. Kill it with 2 thermites. But we knew that it wasn't the same impaler that just did this attack, so we have another impaler up. I'm thinking here I can outrun it. I can just ignore it. We don't have thermites and we don't have ultimatum, and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna outrun it. I could 500 kilo it, but I can probably just outrun it, which turns out to kind of be the wrong decision. Nothing comes of it, but it just keeps on attacking us. Despite it being freaking hundreds of meters away, it continues to send tentacles. It stops here for a second, but it comes back here soon. And I'm just in deep regret that I didn't just kill it with the 500 kilo. It would have been a better job. There's the tentacles. I don't even see it. And I'm like, I'm thinking here, what the hell? How is this guy still attacking me? Like, he's not even here. He's inside the mega nest and he's doing this shit. Situation gets really, really sketchy because of the tentacles. You know, we got 2 stalkers here, so we know there's at least 1 left. And the hunter almost gets us. Reload barely goes off, and we get that final stalker from the patrol. Almost a huge mistake from our fault, or from our side. We got rid of the 3 stalkers. Oh, I just realized, no, earlier I killed the regular stalkers. That's how I knew the stalker lair was here. I apologize. I killed 2 stalkers, regular stalkers, and I knew there was a stalker lair nearby, and I saw the rock formation and I pushed for it. And I ran out of ammo to handle the final couple of stalkers, which almost led on to a death. I apologize. I didn't quite catch the color of the stalkers there. That was a very, very close call, though. Get the resupply off, and we're going to be reloading everything, topping off again. We know a bug breach isn't that far away, so the guard dog kind of glitched my aim there for a second. Almost got flanked by this little guy. Everything's topped off. The ultimatum isn't yet. Takibo, reload that. Yes, good job. We're gonna clean these guys out. Minimize trouble. We see a predator stalker there. We don't quite know yet if it came from the bug hole or if it came from a patrol, but I'm assuming it came from the bug hole. It's an easy heavy bug nest. These are, in my opinion, the easiest heavy bug nests in the game. Just 3 holes. Gets the job done. There's a bug breach, and we do not have a napalm. So as usual, what we do, we look for a high ground. What I was doing here, I was scanning around, searching for a decent high ground to take. This is where I opted in to hang out at. High ground, like I said a couple of times, is going to give us a better angle with our crossbow, as well as, of course, just getting better visibility. So we get up on top of this rock since I was pushed off the previous high ground. Get rid of the stalkers. We're going to push even further back. I felt like the hunters was getting a little bit too close. And I kind of start feeling that their numbers are starting to dwindle, so we start slowly trying to come back. See a charger there in the back. Try to land a quick thermite on it. Saw that it landed, so I'm just hanging out, waiting for it to die. We hear stalkers here, so we do a quick reload in case there's multiple of them, which there is, so the reload was well timed. Down goes the 2 stalkers. I know there's a third. There it goes. Charger was alive, so we finish it off with the ultimatum. I believe at this point we just kind of start dealing with charges with the ultimatum. We just kind of get tired of just trying to handle it with thermites, and I think I kind of subconsciously decide to I'm just gonna start ultimatum them, just getting rid of them a little bit quicker. Kind of alleviate that pressure a little bit here. Objective nearby. We're pushing in here. We hear the stalkers again. Getting a little bit of high ground, sniping out a couple of eggs. And I mismanaged that a little bit. I went for the biospewer first. Should have gone for the stalker first, but we're good. 500 kilo bomb. Trying to do a 2-for-1. Getting some bug kills and some eggs. Make that hunter whiff. Get rid of the hive guard so they don't do a funny flank on us. We're feeling a bit more comfortable here about pushing. So we start creeping back into the eggs. Taking a couple of shots at the clusters. And we finish off the egg. So I know that's the only bug hole right there on this main objective. So we close it off to get the red out of the map. And we go for the upload escape data. In case you didn't know, fun fact, escape data, every time you start the upload data, you reset the bug breach timer. Okay, so which means the next bug that spots us is gonna call for a bug breach. So thankfully we had wiped out already all the bugs, so we got ourselves a little bit of space, but I know that the first bug that sees us is gonna try to call for backup. We're kind of panicking here. We get rid of the hunter, but another hunter all the way in the back hears the sound and calls in for a bug breach. So we go for a napalm barrage to try to hold that back as the escape pod does its thing. Trying to keep just a little bit of distance here from the napalm barrage. And the data gets finished, and now I can get a bit further back. Play it a bit safer. So keep that in mind when you do escape pods. You do reset the bug breach timer. Even if a bug breach just came up, if you upload escape data, it will reset it. It will reset the cooldown, and they will call a back-to-back bug breach if they have to. So keep that in mind with escape pods. It's actually quite a dangerous side objective, especially against predator strains, predator bugs. We're just continuing to push here. At this point, I'm aware of the time. I know we're getting a bit low on time. We're taking a kind of a long time for dealing with everything. We got here a red spot, so a bug nest, as well as a main objective. At this point, if I'm not mistaken, oh, by the way, I tried to bait there the Biotitan to come towards us, to go right into that 500 kilo bomb, and it does. It's quite a good 500 kilo bomb, but it doesn't quite do the job, so we use the ultimatum there to finish it off. At this point, I do remember thinking, if I had finished all the side objectives or not. So I was kind of like paying attention here towards the middle of the map to see if there was any other side objective that I missed out, because as we can see, we did 4 side objectives. We pulled off 4 side objectives, so I know there's likely one side objective that I'm still missing, but I'm not too concerned about it right now. So we're gonna do a siege artillery here on the Titan hole. We want to close that off. We know we loaded up 1 mini nuke and then 2 high yields, so I know that's gonna close the Titan hole. And down it goes. Now we just gotta handle this big guy. Do a little bit of a whiff there with the ultimatum, but it's not a problem. We call a resupply back. At this point, I'm just trying to keep this Bile Titan here just a little bit busy while the resupply drops in. Try to see if this explosive can get the job done. And it misses. I mean, it doesn't 100% miss, but it doesn't get the job done. There's a bug breach. Now we know we gotta handle a ton of predators. Try to get rid of this Bile Titan here. Landed on its leg. Still alive. A couple of thermites could maybe finish the job. At least that's what we're hoping for, and it does. Just with the fire damage. It was very low on health. Right here is a really poor situation. I'm trying to get here now onto this high ground once again. Always retreating and looking for a high ground. Get up here, and now we have a good angle to just kind of lay it onto these stalkers. But that's quite a nice mortar there. Try to get this reload off. They're starting to push us, so we need to get further back. Still trying to hold off this rotation here. We know this is... We just know the pathing of the bugs a little bit too well, so we know as far as this rock formation goes, the bugs only come this way, so we know this is a choke point despite it not looking like a choke point. I believe that thermite bounced there. So we go for a 500 kilo bomb. We're worried about this impaler. We gotta find out where it is so that we can use the other 500 kilo bomb on it or something of the sort. Try to get this 500 kilo bomb on this final charger. We know it's going to hit this rock and get stuck. So the 500 kilo bomb should be quite efficient. We're now pushing towards the resupply that we have dropped off earlier. We never found the impaler, so we know it's still alive somewhere. So we want to get that ultimatum up. There it is. There's the impaler. So let's get rid of him real quick. Kill him as he... He's a priority you gotta deal with, man, or else they're gonna snipe you out quite often. At this point, I don't agree with having shot that Alpha Commander. That Alpha Commander was off to its own thing. I could have just pushed into the nest here. I didn't necessarily need to fight those, but there's a couple of predators. Ooh, that hunter makes a jump. Is this when I go down? This might be when I go down. I go for a reload here. Trying to get further back and get rid of the predators. The stalkers. I keep saying predators when I mean stalkers. Okay. We're good at this point. Problem is I attracted that group here on the right, which is why I said I probably shouldn't even have shot them. That was an unnecessary shot to take. There's that choke point I was talking about earlier. This is a different choke point, but it's the same rock formation, so... We shoot there at the bile spewers so that they explode and do some AoE to the bugs nearby, as well as killing them, of course. That charger, once again, shouldn't be shooting towards that group. Looking back at it, still not a great decision. Did the same thing twice. That was an unnecessary group to call the attention of. Kind of hoping here that the napalm is going to do the trick. At this point, we've wasted a little bit more time than we needed. If a patrol is just walking past you, you don't need to call their attention. It's only patrols that you're gonna have to deal with eventually that I recommend you 100% focusing on. Those 2 patrols that I shot at were not necessary looking back at it. At this point though, I believe I was kind of just pushing for the deathless game. And so I probably shot at those bugs because I was trying to make sure that nothing funny was gonna happen, so to speak. Over here, I'm just trying to snipe out everything I can from a distance. Whip out the stalwart. We're running low on ammo here. Stalker got a little bit close there. There's another one. We're reloading the crossbow. I already see a mistake I made. I should have reloaded the stalwart first. Yes, I believe this is when I go down. So the mistake I made there was I had the stalwart on low ammo and I had the crossbow on low ammo. And I opted in for the crossbow reload instead of the stalwart reload because I was going to prioritize the bile spewer. And unlucky enough, the guard dog also went into reload, so it didn't quite cover me from that final stalker. By the way, I spot out here the final LiDAR station, which is the final side objective. Stalwart came in right on time, just close enough to get rid of that. So we don't quite manage to get the guard dog. We start getting overwhelmed here. So we do a 500 kilo bomb to try to push this a little bit back. When we do the same strat, we retreat. The eggs finish on its own. Probably a bile spewer that accidentally hit it with a mortar. And we start cleaning it out. So it was a silly mistake there with the only death we had. I prioritized the crossbow reload instead of the stalwart reload, which led to that death. Always make sure you keep that stalwart reloaded if you're using this loadout. A stalwart's gotta be always ready for action because these stalkers and hunters just kind of appear out of nowhere and you just need to be ready for action. Reload here this stalwart. We finished the mission, so we're going here for the final part of the entire map, which is this side objective. Whip out the stalwart. Down goes the predator. We start pushing the LiDAR. We know there's a bug breach coming, so we're going here once again. Retreat, high ground. Resupply because we're running low on ammo and we have no stims. Bug breach never quite came. Once again, second bug breach that kind of spawns, but the bugs just kind of maybe don't know where to go. So they don't really come over here, at least not at this point. Couple stalkers. We almost die there. We get that hunter last second. Pop a stim to get our health back. That was a silent hunter too. That guy made no sound. There's a predator right there. Stalker, jump down. Guard dog kind of blocks the shot. At this point, it's a little bit dangerous. Gotta get rid of all of the stalkers. Up on our feet. Get rid of it. Ooh, good flank there on that hunter. Lots of silent moves from these hunters. Another one. At this point, you see where I'm making the mistake, right? When we were earlier on, we were dominating these a little bit easier because we were taking a step back and we were getting the high ground, which I ended up doing here. We step back, we get high ground, and we clear. We see another group, Step back, get high ground, clear. That's the move. That's the rotation you got to do to just continually dominate this predator strain, which I didn't make it. I didn't do that there, which almost led to our death. And the one time that we did die, we didn't quite retreat as much either. Perhaps it was overconfidence building up or something along those lines. But one thing remains true. Stepping back, getting high ground, and shooting at the stalkers and wiping them out was very confidently the best approach to do against these bugs. Lighter tower, we know we gotta turn it right, nearly a full 180 degree. See, there's one little bug here. Take a shot at it. And we go for this finish. We got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. And at this point, we have now officially completed all main objectives, all side objectives, all bug nests. There's only a little bit of red there on the map. I don't quite remember if I go for it. I believe I do. Yeah, I believe I see the red on the map and I'm like, okay, let's clean this out. There's a bug hole. Oop. There goes all the red. The map no longer has any red. Now the map is truly full cleared. So we can start pushing here towards the extraction. I don't actually want to let the clock run out. Usually it's a safer choice to kind of let the clock run out. But I don't want to entirely let it run out because I want to both resupply the extraction zone as well as use an orbital napalm barrage before the cooldowns are gone for good, you know. And if I risk it and I let the time run out, we also risk not being able to extract, which I don't want. I'm gonna try to make it out alive. Extraction is optional, but we still like to do that as much as we can anyways. So we run to extraction here. We're gonna be getting the resupply set up. We're going to be looking here at the map. We're trying to plan out where they're going to be coming from. And I estimated that they're going to be coming from the east side of the map, which is the closest edge of the map, which is where the patrols will spawn from after you full clear. And we get an orbital napalm barrage right on that point. So at this point, we know this is going to hold them off for a little while. Don't have to do too much here. Kind of wait it out. Getting a little bit too close for comfort, so I take a shot at it. The napalm is gonna hold here. I hear a stalker. Get rid of it. Take it easy. We continue to look at the minimap to see the red dots, make sure nobody's doing some crazy flank on us. Bile Titan, do a 500 kilo. Try to take a pop shot with the ultimatum. I land the shot. And I take a second one. I think that was a bit of a desperate shot. That was not necessary. I think at this point I was just worried about that staying alive. We tap the resupply here. Charger still up. Finish it off with the ultimatum. Didn't want to take a risk there either. And by doing that, almost killed myself, but that's okay. A couple of shriekers rushed us down. Get rid of them. Quick and easy. We gotta reload this though, because we don't want to risk the predators. The stalkers. At this point, we know reinforcement is gone. The clock has run out, so we can run away from the extraction zone if we want to. This is a clean shot for us, so we take a shot at this Bile Titan with the double thermite. We assume it's gonna kill, and it does. I'm just trying to hold the extraction here from far back, but I know it's starting to get a little bit ugly. There's a stalker trying to rush us down. Stalwart out. 2 more. Clean them both out. Things are a little bit sketchy here. Start running back at it. We do a pre-stem just in case. And we get blocked by the hive guard, but we make it in. Got a little bit lucky there. that Hive Guard was in a perfect position to block us from getting into the plane, but still managed it. So yeah, man, that's pretty much how we consistently handle the Predator bugs. It is easily the hardest faction in the game. It's probably the one where I win the least. I would say, like, if I had to guess, I'd say I have 60-70% solo win rate against them, opposed to, like, you know, automatons where I feel like I win 90% plus of the games. It's a lot harder. It is a lot harder. But yeah, pretty much the key concept of it, especially if using this loadout, is you see a Predator patrol or a bug breach or a group, you take a step back, you get a little bit of high ground, and you wipe them out before moving forward. You need to be very methodical. You need to be fast but methodical at the same time to more effectively handle these bugs. It's quite challenging. It's quite challenging. And I do feel that due to how difficult it is, there aren't that many loadouts you can realistically use against them. It is more or less limited. There's tons of weapons that just kind of suck against it. That's the real truth. And we get here 867 kills, so that was quite a lot of stalker skill there, that's for sure. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, man, and I'll be catching you legends on the next one. Peace.